Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Oh, you sort of snuck up on me. Sorry. Hello. I was just open-mouthed reading that Pizza Hut is going to offer a hot dog stuffed crust pizza. Here's the good news. This is for Pizza Hut in the United Kingdom. Why would they want that god-awful thing? Hot dog stuffed crust pizza. Jeez. How many calories is that? We don't even want to know. And Burger King is testing a, watch this, bacon sundae.
Ew.
Bacon sundae. It comes with standard toppings such as fudge and caramel, but also includes a strip of bacon. Jack in the Box also unveiled a bacon shake earlier this year. Oh. I mean, these people know, right, that they are somewhat complicit in the in making Americans less healthy. So, God, you just got to wonder what what these meetings, their research and development meetings must sound like. Hey, I got a great idea. Let's take hot dogs and stuff them in the crust, and then we'll throw bacon on ice cream. And unbelievable. Anyway, welcome to Friday the 13th. I just told Jess I know something's weird with this day because my pants are on backwards. They still are, too, because, well, they sort of fit. They're not quite as comfortable, but they're loosey-goosey, pulley-on kinds of pants because I'm going to the gym after. And I thought they felt a little weird when I put them on, but they're definitely on backwards. Want to wish a happy birthday to Jess. She has reached the age where she will now join the ranks of America's uninsured. She's been able to be, since Obamacare, has been able to get health insurance on her mother's health insurance plan, but Jess has made a bad move and has turned 26. So she's thrown out on the streets, and God forbid, you just be careful now. Unbelievable. What a country. Hey, I want to really thank M. Freshwater, if that's your real name, for responding to my question of yesterday, which nobody yesterday responded to, when I was talking about the impressive press conference by the special prosecutor in Florida. I pointed out that she used a word, this is Angela Corey, I believe her name is. She used a word that I had never heard before, and she said it more than once, and I thought, what? I mean, I could tell in context what it was. It clearly was the warrant for an arrest. I mean, it was, by virtue of its placement in the sentence, that's the only thing it could be. But I thought, how could I never have heard of this word? And I asked you, somebody tell me what word she was saying. I wasn't even sure I was hearing it right, so I couldn't even look it up. And it's exactly the word that was confusing me, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, but it's capias. Capias? Have you ever heard that word? Capias? Capias. And it is a warrant for an arrest. It's a warrant issued by a judge on behalf of the state. Or it can also be a warrant for the search and seizure of property. Capias. Somehow I got to this advanced age, and talking about legal cases and things like that, and all my reading, never encountered it. That's more a mystery to me than anything. How did I not ever see this word before? Capias. So there it is. I thought maybe it's just some weird thing that Florida has, since Florida seems to have things that nobody else seems to have. But there it is. That was the question I was asking, and I thank you very much, Freshwater, for answering that question. Also yesterday, before I get into any issues that have arisen since yesterday's program, I mentioned that I tried to remember when we were talking about the Trayvon Martin, and I talked about my how I find it so difficult. I can't look at his picture, that sweet-looking boy. I can't look at it and imagine what happened to him. And since I've heard the scream, the last sound that this poor child emitted, I can't bear it. But I said that I had read a blog that I thought was so well done that came at this whole thing from a different angle, and I was angry at myself for not having the intelligence to have printed it out so I would have it here and be able to share it with you. So yesterday after the show, I did go back and trolled around and found it. And I really do want to share some of this with you. This is a blog written by a gentleman called David Brothers, and some of you may already know this. And I guess his blog is called Fourth Letter, the number 4 THLETTER.net. At least that's what carried it. That's how I got to it. I don't know anything about him except he's clearly a black male. And let me, if I may, he wrote a very long thing. I'm not going to read it all to you. These are a few little highlights. But I think what he said really hits a lot of things on the head. And as I said, it's a slightly different take. But a perspective of a weary black male, as all black males get to be about these kinds of things at a very early age. One of the biggest tragedies in the Trayvon Martin case isn't that he was hunted and murdered. I want to also add that this was written pretty early on. So this is written just as the news is becoming nationally recognized, and the gun nuts are feeling threatened, and the conservatives are feeling threatened by the case, and so they're trolling around looking for ways to demonize the victim, Trayvon Martin, and we find out, that they're trolling through his tweets and that he had been suspended from school for a baggie with a little marijuana, a trace of marijuana, or residual things of marijuana, I don't know whatever. So that's the time frame for you. And before George Zimmerman was arrested, since he was just arrested, when it looked like this guy was going to get away with it totally. So one of the biggest tragedies in the Trayvon Martin case isn't that he was hunted and murdered and that his killer will probably get away scot-free. It's that a mother and father lost their son for a senseless reason, and now their son is an idea. He's a cautionary tale. He's a prop for someone else's argument, and will be until the end of time. He's not even a statistic. I mean, at least with a statistic, it's anonymous and eventually fades into nothing. An idea is inescapable, though. People are already taking this boy's name in vain, using his photo and name however they wish, and to prop up whatever point they have to make. I'm probably guilty of it myself just by writing this paragraph. My little brother's 22. My other little brother turns 4 this year. I've got close boy cousins that range from 10 to 18 or so. I'm slimmer than most of them, but we're all pretty tall enough and black enough to be threatening by default. To know not to mouth off to the police, to know how many black people are in a room within seconds of walking in, to knowing exactly how angry we can get in public before we become a problem. It is what it is. The first thing people are going to do when I get shot is look at what I did to deserve it. Oh, he smokes weed? Probably a drug-dealing thug. Oh, dang, he has a tattoo in Swahili on his arm? Is that gang-related? Did he hate white people? Is he a radical black nationalist? Came from a single-parent household, huh? Let's find some old girlfriends. What do they have to say? What's with those scars on his arm? Pick your proof. Build your picture of me. I'm going to skip a whole lot here. Racism is a system. Racism is a way of thinking. Racism is subconscious. Racism is an entire country being trained to suspect an entire race of being shifty, lazy, or suspicious by default. I have to prove that I'm not a threat. If I have my hood up and I'm not smiling because I'm having a bad day, I'm a threat? Someone to make you clutch your purse or hug your girl closer? I'm a thug? Come on, I'm just having a bad day in the big city. Get real. You've been trained to see brown skin and go to threat first instead of person. You've been brainwashed. The experience of being black in America is one of being constantly reminded that you are black in America, with all the drama that comes from it. I can't escape the fact that I'm black and have built-in baggage, even if I wanted to. And I don't. Black is beautiful. I wouldn't trade being black, being who I am for the world, but boy, would I love to jettison some of the baggage associated with it. I don't like looking at Trayvon Martin and seeing me and my brothers and my cousins. I don't like seeing that at a certain point, the light goes out in the eyes of little black boys. And that there's a reason I stop smiling in every picture I have of myself past a certain age. I don't like realizing that every connection I made to a popular character comes via metaphor or inference rather than actual fact. Real life is hard enough without all this baggage. But life goes on. Trayvon Martin, he has graduated to being a symbol rather than a person. He's a chess piece to be used to show that black people are horrible, or the police brutality exists, or the kids these days are a problem, or that the news media is broken and corrupt, that America eats its young in death as in life. Trayvon Martin is treated as something less than human. It's incredibly unfair, and I see no solution on the horizon. Okay, I think this guy is good, brilliant. And he helped me understand I can't stand that I know his name. Because he's right. He's right. His short life was informed and constrained because he was a young black male in America. Our ideas of him, as if he walked past us, were informed and often constrained because he was a black young man in America. And now, even in death, he's not allowed to just be. He is, as the writer said, he is an idea. He is a prop. He's still not fully human. And I don't know what else to say after that. But I really thought that was brilliant. And eye-opening, if you care to look for it and read the rest. This guy writes a blog. He's been clearly very, very good. Also, just one more thing about yesterday. As the show ended, I was, and I want to apologize right now, singing. I was more sort of talking singing, I think. I said, what did I say? The world has gone mad today, and good's bad today. And, I don't know, black's white today, and day's night today, and most guys today that women prize today are just silly gigolos. So though I'm not a gay romancer, I know that you're bound to answer when I propose. Anything goes. And then I credited that to George Gershwin when, in fact, it was Cole Porter. And Mr. Gershwin wrote extraordinary songs, but so did Cole Porter. And those lyrics were so clearly Porter. I can't believe I said that. In olden days, a glimpse of stocking was looked on as something shocking. Now heaven knows, anything goes. Good authors, too, who once knew better words, now only use four-letter words, writing prose. Anything goes. What's interesting, if you stop and think that when that was written, was in the 1920s, and listen to the complaints. Already they're saying that, people who used to write well, now, look at what people write now, and it's filled with four-letter words. And then you go almost, 90 years later, and the same complaints are still being made, which I guess shows there's nothing new under the sun. Or even the first line, in olden days, a glimpse of stocking was looked on as something shocking. And then we progress so that, and now, we're freaked. We aren't freaked by just about anything, women walking around half naked in their pajamas downtown, in their, boys with their pants around their ankles. It's just, that's the way it is. Anything goes. Well, just so you know how important I am, I want you to know that I received an invitation for an event next week with Michelle Obama. She's going to be in town. Isn't that exciting? Yes, and then I didn't even respond to it. It came to my email. I didn't respond to it. And I actually got a phone call yesterday from somebody identifying themselves with blah, 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 some guy, and saying that they had not heard from me, and they were wondering, was I planning on coming to the event? And so that got my attention, because I thought, geez. So I went back to he asked me to call him. I didn't call. I just went back to the email that I'd originally gotten and looked a little closer. And I wrestled with whether or not to go. And then I decided not. Well, let me tell you what this is. And this is, Michelle Obama is not coming to Pittsburgh for anything but 2 private events, as it turns out, both of which I have been invited to. However, it's a different kind of invitation, of course, because the invitees are expected to pay for the privilege of being in the First Lady's company. And I thought, well, yeah, maybe. I mean, I've given money to the Obama campaign in the past, which is clearly why I was targeted. And also, I've already given some this year. But here's what the reception with First Lady Michelle Obama at the Rivers Club next Tuesday at 3 p.m. would cost. And they say very clearly, there's very limited availability if you want to pay merely $100. If you give $100, you might get in, although at this late date, I suspect those are all scarfed up. $250 is also, if you're under 44 years of age, you can pay I don't know. And that's limited availability for $250. The only thing that ain't limited availability is $1,000 will definitely get you a seat somewhere in the room, but not the premium section. $5,000 or $10,000 will get you the premium section and a VIP clutch. I guess that's a purse, a little purse. What, a purse that says Obama on it? I don't know. So anyway, I decided, as much as I'd like to see Michelle Obama, no. So, and also, I have other things going on that day. I have a doctor's appointment, in fact, which I would have had to cancel, and I thought, no, I'm just not going to do it. This is ridiculous. But here, later in the evening is the biggie, and I got invited to this, too. Dinner with First Lady Michelle Obama at a private home in Fox Chapel to a giant eagle-related family. I'll let them remain anonymous. And to go to dinner at that home in Fox Chapel, where Michelle Obama will be, the least amount of money you can put forward is $10,000 per couple. Per couple. That's for 2. It's $10,000 per couple. And it says here in parentheses after that, very limited quantity. So those are the cheap seats. $10,000 per couple is a cheap seat, and they don't have a lot of them. If you want the premium section at the Fox Chapel home, where you maybe be seated at the same table as the First Lady or something, you need $25,000. And that gets 2 in to the premium section and a VIP clutch. So, you could get that VIP clutch for a mere $5,000 at the Rivers Club, or you can pay $25,000 for it at in Fox Chapel dinner. So, just so you know, I didn't RSVP because I thought, what the heck. I don't know. They obviously think I have more money than I do. So that's how politics in America works. And as we keep hearing about the money, that's all it is. They need to raise money, need to raise money, need to raise money. And, well, given the state of affairs, I'm glad that there are some well-heeled Democrats. Okay. I'm going to get my first break out of the way, if you don't mind. We'll come back and talk some about the current news after this.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on tickets to the ballet, opera, City Theater, Science Center, Symphony, History Museum, and the Carnegie Museums. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's only online deal site where the deals don't expire. bergbargains.com.
Sewickley Med Spa is Pittsburgh's newest med spa, offering the latest in skincare treatments and medical-grade skincare products. Their providers have years of experience with aesthetic treatments and technologies such as Botox, Restylance, Juvederm, chemical peels, Retin-A, and spider vein treatments. They offer a discreet, personalized environment with only the best quality proven services and products. Call them today for a free consultation. 412-259-8628. The Sewickley Med Spa. 412-259-8628.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Okay. Just get my ducks in a row here. Thank you very much. Well, the big news is the North Koreans shot their rocket up and it went kaplooey within, I guess, a minute or so. And there was a lot of speculation as to whether or not they would even acknowledge the fact. And some shock today when they did acknowledge that it had failed. All I could think of, and I see that I'm on the same wavelength as Professor Day over at CMU, who does the Daily News Nuggets blog, because he said the same thing in his blog today. God, I feel sorry for the... Do you know how many people's heads are rolling because of that humiliation? You caused the country global humiliation on the 100th birth anniversary of the founders' birth, blah, 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 blah. I mean, oh, my God. So there are some either dead or very, very unhappy, besieged, highly educated rocket scientists in North Korea today. Actually, I mean that is all I thought about when I heard the news. I thought, oh God, oh geez, can you imagine? I also was reminded of the early days of America's space program. And for those of you old enough to remember them, it was one horrific failure after another. Once the Russians had put Sputnik up, and then on top of it, they even had a Yuri Gagarin in the manned flight. We were standing here flat-footed with, and so we quickly, started shooting these rockets up, trying to catch up. And I remember on the news, it was like almost every other night on the news, there would be this picture of this huge rocket, with the incredible, combustion and flames and smoke as it took off from the what do you call those things? The launch pad, or didn't, because sometimes there was just all this smoke and then the thing would like go and crash. Wouldn't even make its way. Wouldn't go. I remember there was one where it seemed to lift about 2 feet and then dropped back down, crash. Or every once in a while they'd get one up and you could see they were like cheering, oh God, yes, yes, and then it would blow up. It was really unsettling. So, I mean, I hope I had hoped that the North Koreans would remember that and not be too hard on those poor rocket scientists that they employ, because we couldn't get it right either for a while. And as far as I know, the folks behind those unhappy flights at Cape Canaveral at the time were not exiled or killed. So, where's this thing I wanted to talk about? Where is this thing? I'm sorry. Oh my God! It's going to be one of those. They see it is. It's Friday the 13th. My pants are on backwards, and I'm having trouble. Oh yes! Oh, the big story. That's right. How silly of me to have forgotten. I hate our media-driven culture. I just hate it, even though I'm part of it. Okay, so it's Mommy Wars now. I'm so sick of it. Sick of it. This is what Twitter and Facebook and immediate ability for people to communicate gives us. This is the downside. I mean, I guess the positive side is you can get Tahrir Square and the Arab Spring, and the downside is you get subjected to these trumped up controversies. So a woman who works with Democrats makes a statement about the fact that Mitt Romney, well, you know the story, that Mitt Romney he says, I listen to my wife. My wife tells me about what the women of America are thinking. And obviously what this Hilary Rosen wanted to say was, hey, Ann Romney is hardly, and whatever women she's talking to, are hardly representative of the women of America who are struggling in the current recessionary climate. That's what she wanted to say. But instead, she unfortunately said that Romney had not worked a day in her life. If she had even bothered to say never got a paycheck in her life, she might have been a little bit, it might have caused a little less of a stir. I'm not sure. But probably not. That would still have caused a stir, because what it was decided immediately is that she was demeaning motherhood. She was demeaning women who stay home and raise their children. Which, of course, is not what she was doing, but she inartfully said what she said, and so everyone turned on her. I mean, the Democrats turned on her immediately to try to quash the media flap that they knew would, and even on I watched NBC Evening News last night. Brian Williams, as he went into the thing, said, and this will not be a one-day story. And I thought, well, no, I suppose not if you and everybody else in the media have your way, because you love this story. You love trying to make some kind of a skag fight between women. That's what we used to call them back in the day. The women who work versus the women who stay home. And the thing is, the whole thing is totally phony, as most women know. Most women do both. They raise families and they work outside the home. It is a luxury in our current economic reality in this country for a woman to be able to stay at home and raise her children. It is a luxury because it generally takes two incomes to keep Americans in the faltering middle class in this country. So when you look at a lot of the women who stay home, they're women of means. I was in Sewickley the other day for lunch, and I could not believe the number of women wandering the streets with baby carriages. And I thought, well, these are women whose husbands have really good jobs, and yeah, they're able to do the old Ozzie and Harriet thing. They're able to stay home. They also often, and I'm sure Mrs. Romney had these perks with their wealth, they also have help. So Hilary Rosen's thought, which, as I said, was inartfully spoken, was not in many ways incorrect. I met a woman, a bartender, earlier this week, and somehow she and I started to talk, and she was the classic. She was the new face. She was very, I could tell she was smart. She was very, you could tell she was having a bad day too. So I just started talking to her for a little while. She is 31 years old. She has 2 young children that she supports. She also is trying to get her college degree. So this is classic, right? 31, 2 children, trying to go to school as well. And my heart just went out to her. That's the kind of juggling routine that millions and millions of women do. Ann Romney is no more indicative of most women than I am. I'm also a lucky one. I suppose I didn't have to work. Well, of course I had to work. But, we know that old family of daddy working and mommy staying at home to raise the children is not the norm anymore. It is not. Statistically, is not. Women do it all. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
You know what the problem today is with people? They want everything. They're obsessed with material things. My son even does it, and his wife. They got to have the best house. They got to have 2 brand new cars in their driveway. They had SUV cars. And then you got to have your cell phones, your iPads, your computer. We buy too much, and I know it's tough out there, but everybody wants everything. And I've noticed that in this culture now, it's ridiculous. They can't live on the simple pleasures of life. They got to have everything. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm not going to disagree with you. The rampant consumerism, materialism that this culture also is, it's built on. And I cannot tell you how many young people I have heard. I was talking to the mother of one in law school, has been with his girlfriend forever. These are 2 bright young people who can have 2 very good careers. And I just said, so when are they getting married? And she said, well, they want to be able to afford a home first. And I said, what? What? And I've heard this before. I've heard this in the last 20 years, that there is this sense that you have to have a home. You have to have a car or 2. You have to have and if you're right, all these accoutrements. What kind of insanity is that? I've been married for a long time before we ever owned a home. What's wrong with a rented apartment? What's wrong? I don't get it. So I agree, there's been a real ratcheting up of what expectations are or something. But it is still, I think, very difficult for people to live even, an okay lifestyle, even if they're not that acquisitive, on one income, unless it's a very good income. If you're having children as well and you want to be able to afford their education plus your own retirement, if you crunch the numbers, generally speaking, the women will go and find a job as well. Also, the whole idea of the women's movement, was that women should not be constrained from professional lives. So that if a woman chooses to have it all, a profession, children, well, go for it. But you see an awful lot of burned out women trying to do it all. You do. It's incredibly hard. Go ahead, please.
Yes, this is Clarence from Canonsburg.
Clarence from Canonsburg.
You talk about burnt out women. I see them all the time.
Yeah.
No, but I think I was talking to one of those, she's married, husband has a decent job. She has a decent job, but she also sells like makeup products. They do all this to have the same lifestyle that their parents had on one income.
That is
correct. The problem
correct.
is pay scale.
That's right. You hit it.
It would be very easy for one income if they were paid the same way people were paid back in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right, and not only in the 50s and 60s, they were not only paid enough to have a good life, but they were also given security. So that you worked in a place and you were going to stay there, and you had pensions, and the cost of educating your children and getting them a college education was affordable.
Mm-hmm. How many people did you know? 'Cause I grew up poor, but I knew people, living off of one family income, but they also had like a boat, in a vacation cabin.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
one income.
And they might have, and that one income might have been a steel worker's income.
Yes, that's what most of them were steel workers.
Yeah.
They worked in steel mills or coal mines. Now I have a nephew. His wife stays at home, but he's in a coal mine, and he's never home. And when he is home, he's tired.
Yeah.
His daughters they know me better than they know him.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's this false, this totally trumped up false, mommy wars nonsense is like, again, suggesting that women can do this or women can do that, and that women are at each other's throats about it. Women are past that, because most women are doing a little of this, everybody's doing what they have to do.
Everybody got to do what they got to do. Everybody got a hustle going.
That's right.
How many
Everybody's
guys, also, cut grass, a little bit of this, or they might be able to fix your car on the side to make a little extra money.
That's right.
All that stuff.
That is absolutely correct.
But you said the thing that, I was going to call, but then you said it, that where, everybody knows what the woman meant from the everybody knows. They're just trumping this up.
Right.
But the first thing I would have said was, I don't care. Mitt Romney's wife does not raise her children like most people do. She has help. Those houses are huge. She's not cleaning those houses up.
No.
She's not doing the laundry.
No.
Please, she's not cooking the meals.
Probably
Give me a break.
Yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, I don't know what in my house, and I was a single parent, I did the laundry, mowed the lawn, did the housework, did the shopping, did the da-da-da-da. I did it all and had a full-time job. That's right. Now, granted, I would not want to raise 5 boys. That's tough. And if that's all she did, that's a lot. Even that is taking, herding 5 boys. But my bet is she had nannies as well.
I would guess, and that's the next thing coming out. And if it isn't, the next thing she's coming out, she had backup. Even if she had, grandparents helping her out, or the Mormon community, I'm sure they do that. They help each other out.
Women, and I don't know. no one could argue that she's representative of most women. Of course she's not, by virtue alone of her wealth.
Of her wealth. Yeah.
That's it. Forget it. She's not in the conversation. She can do whatever she wants. She can have jobs. She can do whatever she wants. She has no idea, like what this bartender I was talking to, the reality of a woman's life like that.
And I've seen so many people, women in that situation, who also do volunteer work.
Yeah, isn't that
amazing? They have volunteer work on top of that.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, women. There are some women that are just unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't want to sound like, if more guys would be like women, we'd do a lot better.
No, I agree. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right.
Bye. Yeah, somebody pointed out that what most women are doing today is sort of a hybridization. I mean, they work at some point in their life, maybe part-time, maybe full-time. Then they raise children, or as soon as the kids get into school, they'll go back. Or they're raising children at home, and they have a job that they can do from their home. A lot of women are doing that. The good news is that women have choices now. And not all women have to live the same life like they did in Ozzie and Harriet times. This is the good news. And to keep trying to pit women against each other when most of us will work outside the home for a salary, will raise children with or without a mate, all I want to do is stand up and applaud most women. I really do. And I also want to applaud the women like my sister is representative of. She is a woman, highly educated, more educated than I, who worked for a little while outside the home as a lawyer and then had children and chose to stay home. She's married to a doctor. They can afford the one income and a good life too. And she wanted to raise her children. And she did that extremely well. And it's women like her who pick up a lot of the volunteer work that we rely on. So when she was on the school board, that's an unpaid position that requires a ton of skill and commitment, and she did that for some time. She's not sitting at home doing her nails. Well, yes, she is. Sometimes. But then, so am I. I do my nails and have a job and raise children and this and that. Women, God bless you. My hat is off to the women of this world. And to try to pit us against each other, as Republicans forever do. They always got to divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. Come on. Neither Hilary Rosen, who set off this kerfuffle, or Romney represent the norm. I don't even know what the norm is anymore, but I would think it's sort of a hybrid thing. Romney, very rich, with help, stays home, raises 5 boys. Good for her. Good for her. Hilary Rosen has 2 children that she is raising. I don't know that they're fully grown yet. And she has a partner. She's a lesbian. And I think her children are adopted. Okay, so that's not, that's one of those, again, a kind of a family that we didn't used to see, right? But because of gay rights, because of women's rights, there are families that look like Hilary Rosen's. But she's not indicative of all families. There isn't any template anymore. As Clarence said, everybody's out there hustling. Everybody, I mean, except the rich. They don't have to hustle. Fine. God bless them. And that's all that Rosen meant. You're getting your information about women in America from your wife? She doesn't... It's absurd. She just didn't say it right. And I do want to give kudos to a Fox News person, Greta Van Susteren, who, as far as I know, who I can't stand, who, as far as I know, is the only person I've heard who totally went to bat for Hilary Rosen and said she was disgusted by everybody and the Democrats all running away from her and disavowing and saying as if she has nothing to do with any of us, she's this and that and blah, blah. When, Van Susteren said what we've been saying quite clearly. This is what she intended to say, that she's a good woman and blah, 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 blah. And this is Van Susteren coming from a totally, different side of the aisle. So the most recent census data say that about 47% of the 34 million mothers with children under the age of 18 were employed outside the home. Okay, 47%. So it's almost half of women. I'm surprised it's not higher, frankly. But there it is. This is ridiculous. It's, I wanted all of these trumped up things. This gotcha stuff, this jump on and it doesn't matter that Hilary Rosen is not affiliated with the Obama campaign. It has nothing to do with that. But it was. This is how our politics happen. Now, people sifting through every word that comes out of every yapper and coming upon one that can, cause a stir, as this one did. Man, my heart goes out to Hilary Rosen, and my heart goes out mostly to the huge number of American women who you see every day. I see them on the bus, the ones who are tending bar and waiting tables, the ones who are getting up at God knows when, feeding children, dressing them, bathing them, getting them off to school or daycare, going and working, coming home, having to do it all, the laundry, the housekeeping, the schlepping, the this, the that. If a child gets sick, they have the problem of, do I go to work? If I don't go to work, I don't get paid. Lots of jobs like that, guys. Oh, yeah. I don't get paid. Or leave my sick child? Women who on a daily basis deal with so much endless responsibility and work. Ann Romney is nowhere near that woman. Hilary Rosen is nowhere near that woman. I am nowhere near that woman. Jess, that leaves you. Jess could be that woman. Yeah. And she well may be. And the sort of cynical exploitation of women's lives continues apace. It's why I didn't talk about this yesterday. I thought, please, dear God, go away. Just go away. This is manufacture. I don't want to do this again. It's, again, 2012. While we're talking about these amazing women doing all this stuff, but the government, Republicans think they've got to decide whether or not a woman should bear a child, right? So the way Republicans do it, they would make women not have access to contraception, not have access to abortion if they were, and even if they were carrying a child that will require constant care. And yet they don't do anything to help these women. They don't do anything. They're against anything that would help women. Family leave, subsidized child care, health care, access. But they sure do like them as political pawns. Sick of it. Let's take a break.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Pittsburgh City Paper's in-depth election coverage is available now. Pick up one today for Bill Maher, Capilia, Doug Sneed, and Tigers Be Still. Pittsburgh City Paper available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania and on the web at pghcitypaper.com.
Hey, Billy, want to go to the state fair?
Yeah!
Well, you can't.
Huh?
Well, you see, Billy, when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have done with it. But now your parents are becoming energy efficient. They could save hundreds of dollars a year and take you to the fair next year.
I want to go now.
I know you do. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn at pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
All right, freedom, which, again, the Republicans like to talk about a lot. The freedom to choose, to manage your own life, when to have a child, where to live, whether to stay home, whether to work. We make choices, which is why I've always been quite comfortable saying I'm pro-choice. Let people live as they want to live and suffer the consequences if they make stupid decisions, I guess. That's what the Republicans would agree with. Catching up with your emails, Kristen writes, as a stay-at-home mom for going on 10 years now, I totally agree with your caller, I think the first caller, who said these people want everything. My husband and I sat down and made sure that we could afford for me to stay home before I got pregnant. Well, would that everybody was so grown up. We have a nice, small house, cars that aren't new but in great shape, and are able to provide for our daughter. That's all that counts for us. I, too, live in a neighborhood where the women all work, but they have the huge house, brand new SUVs. Yes, it's a trade-off, but I don't regret my decision at all, I bet. I think it's up to each individual woman to make the best decision for themselves and their families. Cannot disagree with a word you say. Congratulations, Kristen. Colette writes, what I think is funnier is the people who already have a kid or two and say they are saving up for their wedding. Really? What's wrong with a small wedding there you go, or a visit to the Justice of the Peace? What people spend on weddings is insane. I agree with you totally. It's wasted money. It's unnecessary. It's ridiculous. Has nothing to do with committing yourself to another person. Also, I knew you would have a caller complaining about couples wanting too much. That goes hand in hand with the mommy wars argument. Not everyone who has two people working is looking for new cars. Some people do it for more basic things like health insurance. Yes. This judgment, these judgments that we make, we don't know. You're right. You don't know. We're all quick to judge. And I guess to defend our own choices as well. Professor Jared Day of Daily News Nuggets says, here's an update on the Rosen story. I'm trying to access it now. Try to get it here for you. Come on, computer. Here it is. Welcome to the next 7 months. Plenty of substantive issues were circulating Thursday, including the 6th anniversary of Romney Care, a signature issue from Romney's past. It's going to play a big role in how he sells his candidacy, and a big speech by Vice President Biden about but you never know it. The day began with Democrats on their heels rushing to condemn a Democrat CNN contributor and ending with Republicans calling out their allies in the Catholic League. Even in a political culture that counts pseudo-outrage as a large chunk of its diet, the conversation careened out of control quickly. Thanks in part to Twitter and in part to the Republicans. I've lost my place. A media circus ensued and included a conference call in which women supporters of Romney insisted Rosen's gaffe represented the official opinion of the White House. Rosen had apologized by the afternoon. The Catholic League for Religious and Civil Liberties lashed out at her for being a lesbian and caught all adoptive parents in the crossfire. The Catholic League tweeted this: lesbian Dem Hilary Rosen tells Ann Romney she never worked a day in her life. Unlike Rosen, who had to adopt her children, Ann raised 5 of her own. Oh, my God! Now, don't get me started. Don't get me started. What a despicable thing to say. And so, less than 24 hours after the leadership of the Democratic Party had to disavow the comments of a person not at all involved in their presidential campaign, the Republican Party had to do the exact same thing. Here is the Republican National Committee Communication Director's tweet. The Catholic League should be encouraging adoption, not demeaning the parents who are blessed to raise these children. So the apology train had come full circle, but not before it eclipsed any actual news that might have had a run in the spotlight. Is this what the general election is going to be like? Oh, dear God, of course it is. It may be time to reach for the Valium. Today, Romney is speaking at the NRA National Convention. Wow. The Catholic League. Is that jerk Donahue's thing? I think he is. He is the most despicable. Lesbian Dem tells Ann Romney she never worked a day in her life. Okay. Cease fire. Cease fire. Cease fire. 4:02. And, hey, tune in me tonight, 7:30, WQED TV. It's 4802, and something tells me this subject will come up. Oh, God, I'll need a stiff drink afterwards. Thank God I have a plan to get one. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy the return of our ridiculously wonderful weather. And I'll talk at you again Monday. Bye-bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.